In today's video, we're gonna make some lunches, but before we even start this video, I wanna let you know every single one of these are perfect for dinner too. So don't let the fact that if maybe you don't prep your lunch or pack your lunch or whatever it is, don't let that stop you, because I'm telling you, every single one of these are great for dinner too. We're gonna make some garlic butter chicken meatballs. Sounds delicious. I have about a pound of ground chicken here. We're gonna start adding in a few things, just really giving this great flavor. Obviously, you don't have to use chicken. You could use turkey, you could use beef, you could use whatever you normally use to make meatballs, sausage, pork, whatever it is. Like I said, this is a pound. I'm gonna add in about a half cup of cheese. This is a shredded cheddar. We need to add some garlic. So I've got some minced garlic here, about 4 cloves, so it's a decent amount of garlic. So I'm actually gonna go a little less on that. So probably a teaspoon and a half-ish. Some Italian seasoning, go ahead and add that in, right around a teaspoon. Just a touch of crushed red pepper flakes. Now I'm gonna do probably a 1/4 teaspoon, but the more you add of this, the more heat you get. Now I also wanna add in some salt. I'm probably doing around a half teaspoon of this. Now you could add parsley, cilantro, something like that. I don't have either of those, but my favorite is thyme. So I'm gonna add thyme because I know I love that one. That is truly my favorite right now, at least right now, of all of the fresh herbs. And we've got lots of it. We always have lots of it. Add that in. It probably comes out to about a teaspoon and a half, the amount that I'm doing. These can definitely be made in the oven. I would probably cook them for about 20 minutes or so on probably 400. Now I haven't tested that, but that's how I've done meatballs before. So I would assume roughly the same. I'm actually gonna cook these on the stovetop today. So we're just gonna put them in the skillet with a little bit of butter. They're gonna be so delicious. Now, this is a great way to meal prep your lunches, making something like meatballs, because you can portion it out into different containers and then serve it with your whatever your side dishes. All right, let's start to combine this. I'm gonna add a little bit of breadcrumbs, not a lot. I mean, I really want this to not get dry at all. So just a touch of breadcrumbs. I've really been enjoying the panko breadcrumbs lately. So I'm gonna add just a bit of those, maybe only like a 1/4 cup. And then obviously you can add an egg to bind it all together too. I'm not even gonna worry about that, honestly, because you've got that cheese in there, which will help kind of pull it together as well. Like, you can feel free to add whatever kind of spices you like in here. This is kind of the base mixture of what I'm going with. Now, before I head over to the stove to cook this, I'm gonna make up a little sauce that we're gonna end up cooking afterward. I've got some lemon juice here. I'm gonna add the juice of about a half lemon. So just here to this bowl, I'm gonna add in some sriracha, just about a tablespoon. Some chicken broth or bone broth, about a half cup. A touch of garlic, maybe a half teaspoon or so. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more red pepper flakes to this, just a touch here. Why did I put that spoon away? So we're mixing this together. This I'm going to reduce down and kind of create a sauce once we finish making the meatballs. We're gonna head over to the stovetop where we're going to cook these up, and then we'll make the sauce after. All right, these are gonna cook for about 8 to 10 minutes, and we just wanna make sure we brown all sides, getting really good flavor here. All right, these are nice and done. Let's take these off. They're sticking a bit now. Ugh. We're gonna take them off and just set them on a plate. Unfortunately, I think I used a cleaner on this pan that did not serve my pan well, because it has been sticking a lot more lately. My trick for when that happens is to just deglaze the pan with a little bit of water with that heat still on, and it will help everything come up really easily. Now, if it had just been a little bit, I would have left it in there and made the sauce with it, but that was a lot of residue there. Let's add in about a tablespoon of butter. Add in that sauce that we made, and we'll let that reduce. I have all of my little containers prepped back here, but I put a little bit in a bowl so that I could try it. It looks amazing and it smells amazing. All right, the flavor is on point. The lemon that is in that sauce cuts the heat. These are really good. So much flavor in these. Definitely like these. There is some kick there though. So if you want to cut down on the amount of heat, I would say less red pepper flakes and maybe even less sriracha or hot sauce, whatever it is that you end up going with. So good, guys, so good. Sometimes I am totally good with something like a sub sandwich or sushi or even like cottage cheese and fruit, but then other times I just want a good hot lunch. We're gonna make these Korean beef bowls that are so delicious, awesome flavor. You can add things in that you love, take away things that you don't. They package up so nicely into different containers and they reheat really well. I've already got some rice in the rice maker over here. It's almost done actually, and we're gonna get started on the actual beef part of this recipe. All of that is over on the stovetop, so let's head over there and get started. Okay, I'm gonna get my heat turned on here. Let's go with a medium high. And I have 1 pound of ground beef going in to the pan, if I can get it out of the bag. When I make lunches like this, I try and make them less fatty. Typically our dinners have a little bit higher fat content in them. A lot of times I'm filming dinner, it's really yummy, it's gonna have all the good things in it. So for lunch, I like to scale back on the fat content quite a bit, and I like for it to have a decent amount of protein. I typically stack my day early with lots of protein and lighter on the fats. That's just how it ends up working out for me. And then at dinner, we have it a little bit heavier. So I'm not even adding any oil to the pan. You can. If you want to go with the really Korean flavors, go with a sesame oil. If you don't have that, don't worry about buying it. Just use avocado, olive oil, whatever it is that you typically use. This is a 90-10 ground beef. Like I said, I go less fat when I am making stuff for lunches. You could even go 93-7 if you really want it to be lean. I'm gonna add in some minced garlic, probably about 3 cloves. It's a really decent amount of garlic for this recipe. Okay, stir that in. We're on a medium heat. You guys know how much we love ginger, so I'm gonna add in some ginger, at least a tablespoon. But I like a lot. Okay, we add in that ginger. I'm gonna turn my heat down a little bit more so it's like a medium low now, just because now everything's cooked. We're just adding in the ingredients. About 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is what we use. It is the no soy sauce. So it tastes like soy sauce, but it's not soy sauce. About 4 tablespoons of that. About 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. This is something that, you may not use all the time, but you just keep it in your pantry for when you need it. You can add a sweetener to this if you want. I don't. I actually really like the savoriness of this, but if you want to add maybe honey would be a good one. You know what? Let's add just a little bit of honey. And when I say a little bit, I really mean just a little bit, because you don't want it to be sweet. That's not really what you're going for. It just cuts some of the saltiness of all the other flavors. Add a little bit of heat in mine, so some sriracha, about 4 teaspoons or so, 4 to 5, just depending on how much heat you like. This is so easy to make. I have some carrots that are already shredded. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that this is something we pretty much always have on hand. I just store them in water in our refrigerator, and that way we can just pull them out and use them. All right, add as many carrots or as few carrots as you like. And we are gonna cook this for maybe 2 minutes or so. I like my carrots to stay pretty crunchy, so that's a preference thing. If you want yours to soften up, then cook it for a little bit longer. I'll usually prep however many containers we have, and then the rest of it I'll put into separate large containers and then prep again after we use the first few. So right now we have 3 of these clean. I think in total we have 5. So normally I will try and prep 5 of them, but just take some of that protein, put that on the top. You can put this into separate containers if you want to. It's really pretty like that as well. Or you can just put some on the side like so. Let me show you what you can do if you do it like this. Now I typically will wait until the day that I'm gonna eat it, but you can put slices of cucumber like right here and it adds green to it, which is really pretty. I personally, it depends. Do you want your cucumbers to stay crunchy or do you want them to kind of soften up? I like mine to stay crunchy. I like the 2 distinct textures. So it depends on how you prefer it, okay? But I also really like, there's these cucumbers that we made the other day that have soy sauce and red pepper flakes, and they're kind of spicy and they get a little bit soft, but not completely soft. So good, so good. If that video is posted yet, I'll share it with you here. I can't remember if that was live yet or not. Okay, so prepping a few of these, then take some chive or some green onion, put that on the top so that you get some green color. I might need to go get another. That comes right off the garden. But I mean, can you ask for more? So like I said, if you add the cucumber slices in here, that offers another element of color, which is so pretty, and that crunch, I love that. But this is it's so easy, guys. It's so easy to make this and throw it together and have it available for several days in a row. Okay, so I usually make enough that my husband and I can eat this for at least 2 days. That's kind of how sometimes we get a 3rd day, or maybe I'll get a 3rd day and then he eats something else for lunch. I actually don't mind eating the same thing several days in a row for lunch. He would prefer probably to change things up more regularly. But let me just taste it just so I can give you guys a taste test, obviously. It's so good, such good flavor. I love the way that this one tastes. And because we add that sriracha in, it packs heat, which I personally really like. If you don't want the heat, obviously leave that out. But man, with that heat at the end, I love that. That to me, if I get a lunch like this, I feel like it sustains me for the rest of the day. And then I am good. I can conquer the afternoon because I have a tendency, if I don't eat a good lunch, I'm done at 1 o'clock. My day is over. I don't have any more energy for anything. So this is how I keep going during the day. Because I don't have any more of the containers, we'll just take the rest of this and put it into one of these, this size. Same thing with the rice. I like to separate it out, and then whenever these get cleaned or washed after we use them, then we can add more into them so that they can go in the fridge and they're ready to go. Now, honestly, for us, since we're always home, my husband works from home majority of the days, and the kids are home. So a lot of times for us, we'll just leave it in the fridge like this right here, and then take the 2 things out, put it in a bowl and reheat it. So that's a pretty common thing for us as well. When you get done with these, you will not believe that these buffalo chicken wraps came from frozen chicken tenders. They are so good. So good. We've got some chicken going into the air fryer. I'm just making a single one of these today, so I'm just gonna make 3 tenders. I'm not even quite sure we're gonna use all 3, but I like to have 3 regardless, just based on the amount of protein that I know that I want to eat with this meal. Now, we only need to make up a little bit of sauce since I'm only making one of these, but I just have about a tablespoon of butter, maybe even a little less, and I would like to add some Frank's hot sauce. I'm adding maybe 2 tablespoons or so. Now, obviously you can buy buffalo sauce. This is not something that you have to make, but it's really easy to make. So if that's not something that you think is gonna sit in your refrigerator and you're gonna use it regularly, you probably have all the ingredients you need just to make it at home. I do like to add a little bit of honey for sweetness. So just maybe like a half teaspoon, really not much at all. Some garlic powder is really good in this. Again, maybe about a half teaspoon. And then I like to add some paprika for smokiness. So let's do, again, just about a half teaspoon. And then obviously this is kind of a big pot, but we're gonna melt this and then we'll have a nice buffalo sauce. Obviously with this, you can double, triple, quadruple, however much you need to make up the amount of buffalo sauce that you need for however many of these wraps you're making. While my sauce is heating through, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the whole rest of the tortilla. We've talked about these before. These are our favorite tortillas. It's the Mission, but they're the organics one. These are so soft. We just love them. Love the flavor, love how soft they are. They're perfect. Now let's prep this. I am going to start with, what did I say I was gonna start with? Y'all, I am all over the place today. Let's add some lettuce here. This is butterhead, but just use whatever kind you like. I like to add blue cheese. You don't have to, but it's really good that way. That is some stinky blue cheese. All right, just a few cut tomatoes. I have some on a little salad that I made up to go with this, so I don't need too many. Now this, many people may not like this on theirs, but I think that pickles are so good on this. And that was full. Okay, so just add a few pickles here. Which, by the way, if you have not tried this brand, it is the, I'm assuming it's Griot. The Griot pickles, y'all, they're so good. Okay, so at this point, we are pretty much ready. The tenders have about 3 more minutes. The sauce is heated through. I'm just waiting to assemble the rest of it. Okay, chicken is done. It's delicious, looks amazing. Okay, this is gonna be fun to roll. Actually, let me break this one in half. It's gonna be nice and big. All right, we're not gonna use that other one. I mean, I'm gonna eat it. We're just not gonna put it on here. And I'm gonna drizzle with that buffalo sauce. Am I going about this a difficult way? Yes. As much or as little as you want. You can also just toss your tenders in that if you want. Look how good this looks. Okay, getting that wrapped took me a minute. I'm gonna put a toothpick in either side just to hold it together. Cut this in half. And there you go. I mean, so good. I fully expect this to be a challenge, but let's taste it. That is so good. And although there are some great buffalo sauces in the grocery store, making it yourself, because you probably have everything in your house to make it, it is delicious. You can add as much or as little heat as you want. If you want to really kick up the heat, add in some cayenne pepper or even some red pepper flakes. But y'all, that is so good. Like, I have gotten this exact thing with French fries out in a restaurant before, and this is every bit as good as any time I've ever had this out before. Absolutely delicious. You get that heat, you've got those amazing chicken tenders. I love the saltiness that the pickles add and the crisp of the lettuce. So good. I'm not even finished eating and I had to run back in here and say this really quick. If you don't want it in a wrap, do the exact same thing I just did, but put that chicken on top of your salad. So a little piece of chicken just fell out, and obviously I ate it with the salad that's on the plate. It's delicious. Buffalo chicken salad, so good. Our verse today comes from Psalms 51:1. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you need more inspiration, check out the video that I have linked right here in the middle of the screen. You're gonna get more encouragement and inspiration in the kitchen. You're gonna love this one. Also, don't forget to subscribe and stick around if you're new here. I hope you have a great week. Bye.